Buzz with Jess Lujan.
We're talking about a locally written and produced play, Pagat it's called, and one of the writers, of course, here, Lola, the young girl, as well as one of the main actors here, Joyce Torres, who's here with us tonight, and talking about their roles and how this was put together. And we were talking in the break, Lola, about in writing this. Now, I know Joyce has got a strong personality, so she must have been a strong tatamona, or a spirit. You had to be a strong spirit to move her, right? But I was asking you, did you write this script with certain people in mind? And you just told me when you were casting that the roles that they had, they just kind of took over.
Yeah, well, so when we were writing, it was really fun because that's something about writing that's really unique, is that when you're really writing, characters become themselves.
Yeah.
And as a writer, you almost get out of their way, you know? And so, for example, Joyce's character, Leilani, has completely different worldviews than I personally do. So I'm writing Leilani, and I'm like, oh, Leilani, we're having this. But it was really fun because, she is who she is. And having taught at the university for, for a few years, and so same with Dr. Bavacqua, we've been around people the age of our characters.
Sure.
And so the characters really were inspired by conversations we've had with students or conversations we've had with people in our community about the struggles they have with culture. So that did inspire them. And then when we cast the characters and I went to the first rehearsal and I saw these guys acting it out, I was like, wow, they're perfect. Like they're really great at capturing
Now, Joyce,
the voice.
let me ask you, in the role that you play, right? In the role that you play and the spirits that moved you and things like that, we all have grown up with either personally feeling spirits, feeling them around us, or heard stories. We definitely heard stories about the spirits. So when you acted in the role, when you were in that role and you were moved by the spirits, did you ever have any personal experiences with spirits and you kind of relate to that, or have you heard the stories? Because again, it's almost now so real in a sense now, and you had to be in the moment. You had to be there, and the spirit had to move you. And so did your early knowledge of tatamonas or aniti help you in any way to prepare for this?
I think so. I think, growing up, being Chamorro, growing up in the culture, you kind of hear about it and you're kind of like, oh, it's distant from you. But also being a poli-sci minor at the university, so going into it, I was very like, similarly, Lonnie, very like, oh no, this is what they say about that. I don't really believe it. But of course, you go through life and you do actually see it. And the biggest moment for me where I was like, there's something about Pagat that's special about Pagat was because at the beginning, everybody went on the Pagat hike.
Sure.
And I wasn't able to do it because I had another event to go to. So I decided, okay, I'm going to make it a point to go to Pagat because I'd never gone there. And I wanted to see Pagat for myself because I was like, what is the place?
Sure.
What are we writing about, or what are we talking about? So I go with the costume designer, Mark, who actually has been having dreams about the place after he went. And he's like, I have to go back. So we were like, okay, we're going to all go together, right? And we go the day of, and everyone's like, I have to cancel. So Mark and I are at the opening of the, going into the trail. And we're like, are we going to do this? And I was like, I think we need to do it because you need to go because the spirits are calling you, obviously, if you're dreaming about them. And I personally need to see it. So we go and we ask, and we ask permission. He's like, we talked about it earlier, he doesn't know how to ask in Chamorro because he's Filipino, right? So I was like, you know what, just ask with intention. If you ask, they're going to understand it. So we ask, and we go through it. When they first went, he didn't see anything. He didn't see anything that changed. But the second we started walking together, it's funny, we saw wild pigs, and we were like, nobody had seen wild pigs the first time, right? And we saw like 8. And then we go further in, tons of butterflies. And then we were like, we got goosebumps because we're like, there's something going on. I'm not sure what it is. But once we got to the bottom, it was Mark, he's like, I'm returning you home. And I think you asked me to come here, right? And I swear to you, the light shined through the center and there was a little pour of rain for like 5 seconds. And I was like, I don't know what to make of this, but this really happened, and this is why we needed to come here.
And so you took that experience.
We did.
And you relived it then on stage.
We did.
So that experience, because most actors do that. If you're playing a role, you're playing somebody, you have to be that person. You have to experience it to get that across, because you want the audience to feel it, what you're feeling. And they won't be able to do it unless you're really actually feeling it. It's live on stage doing it. So That's fantastic.
It is.
It
It's
is.
great.
Yeah, it was really fun. We took
Yeah.
the whole cast for their first rehearsal to Pagat
Yeah.
with that intention. you
With that
know?
intention, yeah.
And
Okay.
that's the beauty of doing a locally written and produced play is that it is close to home, you know,
Yeah,
and
sure.
it's very real for us, you know.
So tell us about it, and don't want to get too much in it. This is a great teaser for it.
Yeah.
You know, it's a great, big, heavy weekend, you know.
It is a heavy weekend.
Absolutely.
Thankfully, the
Yeah.
play runs for 2 weekends.
Yeah.
So it
sure.
opens tomorrow night. Doors open at 6:30. I recommend to come at 6:30. And for those that come early, there is a pre-show by Inet Ngefpagu
Sure.
and the Cultural Performing Arts class from UOG. So it's Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Okay.
Both this Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and next week.
And next week, okay.
So that's April 24th to 26th,
So
May
it runs
1st
6
through
days.
3rd.
Yeah.
It's
Yes.
6 days.
Yeah.
And it's a small theater, so try and get there on
Sure,
time.
sure.
So doors open at 6:30. Show starts at 7. It's $10 for adults, $7.50 for students, and
Students.
free for UOG and GCC
GCC students. Okay.
But basically, it's going to be really exciting because, like I said, there's several layers. So we've got the Manhoban modern cast, we've got the cast of spirits,
Sure.
and then the spirits when they tell their stories, which I think we were talking about it in the break. All of the spirit stories are based on actual accounts
Sure.
and actual words from Spanish accounts and from
okay.
Chamorro sharing their stories
Okay,
with us
okay.
and our research. So there's the cast of spirits, but their memories are depicted through dance. And
okay.
Inet Ngefpagu and Vince Regis is doing all of the choreography.
okay.
And the dances are amazing. The
Yeah.
dances depict, a fight during the Chamorro-Spanish War. They depict a scene from World War II, with women who were dealing with having been
Sure,
raped.
sure.
And then, the story of creation. So there are a few dances in it to illustrate memory. So the play itself is just these layers of artistic expression. So I think it would be really exciting.
No, that's fantastic. Now, let me ask you this: if you're a non-Chamorro, you don't understand Chamorro. I mean, is this a audience friendly in the sense that they can understand?
Oh,
Is it,
definitely.
yeah. Okay.
So we did utilize the language, but the play is mostly in English
Yeah.
because the spirits are talking now,
Okay,
and they're talking
okay.
to the audience, and most of our audience members are English speakers, and so it is mostly in English. You can understand it no matter what culture you
Sure.
are, and these issues with identity are universal.
And the last I heard, our tatamonas, our spirits, our anites, they got smartphones nowadays. Yeah. So, anyway, we're going to pay some more bills, come back, say goodbyes, and again, one more time,
All right.
when the play is on this weekend, okay?
Okay,
Be right
thank
back.
you.